So today I'm driving the 2017 Dodge Journey SXT. This is a compact sport utility vehicle that MSRPs for about $25,000. This SUV seats up to 7, although the third row seat is pretty small, and if you drive conservatively you can get 19 miles per gallon in the city and up to 25 on the highway. I drove this car for about 3 days. I put over 600 miles on it and I really liked it. Let's start by jumping inside and taking a look at the interior. As you can see, this is a kind of a slick interior. It has a very minimalistic feel because there's really not a lot of buttons for you to interact with on this car. Above the steering wheel you get a small heads-up display with a very aggressive red tint to it. And then in the center console you get a small touchscreen, some storage space, climate controls, and then CD player. The touchscreen is pretty small, but you do get dedicated buttons on both sides to help you navigate through all the menus. Jumping in the back seat, you do get a lot of legroom here. It's really nice to see also that the back seats are adjustable, which is really nice. And then behind the back seats, you do get a small, and I do mean small, third row seat with not a lot of legroom, but probably plenty of room for some small children. Let's switch gears and talk about tech for a second. One of my biggest disappointments with the Dodge Journey is that there is no Bluetooth connectivity. I mean, I actually looked through all of the setting screens for probably 15 minutes and the owner's manual, and I was shocked to find that I cannot connect my phone to this car. So what I ended up doing was wearing headphones and keeping my cell phone on my lap, which is not ideal, but I don't think it's a deal breaker because this is a pretty nice vehicle all around. So let's switch to some more positive things. You do get a really nice key fob with this car. It has a great weight to it, and the buttons are easy to interact with. You also get a push button start that's right next to the steering wheel, in the same place you would normally insert the key, and a button on the driver's side door to allow you to do keyless entry as long as you have the key fob in your pocket. You also get some nice buttons on the steering wheel to interact with the heads-up display and cruise control. Here on the left, these are the buttons that you use to navigate the heads-up display, and then on the right side, these are your cruise control buttons. The heads-up display is a nice size. It has a nice red color to it, and there's plenty of screens here to give you all the information you need to know about the vehicle while you're driving it. I particularly liked the fuel economy screen, which was pretty helpful. The touchscreen is a little bit small. I mean, I can cover the whole thing with my hand, but I don't think that's a deal breaker, especially since you get dedicated buttons on both the left and the right side, so you're really using the screen just to view the menus. It's also nice to see that Dodge has included a screen on and off button right there on the right of the screen. I think this is important because it can be pretty distracting to have a bright screen flashing in the middle of the night. And then directly below the center console, all the way at the bottom, you do get this nice storage space here in the bottom that was pretty good for my cell phone and includes an audio in, a USB port, and then also a power adapter right here. And I think it's worth noting that you also get a power adapter all the way in the back in the trunk so you can plug in some toys. And then there's also one in the center console in the back seat for your passengers. But switching back to negative just for a second, I'm disappointed to see that Dodge has not gotten rid of this old-fashioned push pedal parking brake. I find these to be kind of annoying. And also, you have the standard gas cap with a twist-off cap. A lot of the other cars have gotten away with this feature, which I would hope Dodge would do in the near future. And then finally, and this is just a personal pet peeve of mine, there is no blindside detection on this vehicle. It's a very cheap feature to install, and I really wish Dodge had also included it in the Dodge Journey. But enough of the negative. Let's switch gears and talk about storage. This is something that the Dodge Journey really excels at. Let's start in the back first. When you open up the back hatch, you see just how much space is back here. I mean, it really is enormous, and I don't think you'll have any problems storing anything back here at all. I also really appreciated how easy it was to operate these third row seats. All you got to do is pull on these cords, and the seat just sort of folds into place really simply. I'm doing this one-handed with a camera in my other hand, and it was a piece of cake. Switching to the front of the vehicle, directly below the touchscreen, you do get a nice storage area right here. I thought it was perfect for my cell phone. I have a pretty large phone, and it fit very comfortably, which was really nice to see. And I know I've already mentioned this, but there's also another storage space all the way below the center console that's right next to the USB and power inputs. This is a nice size area, though it is kind of far away from you while you're driving. I had to stretch a little bit to get access to my cell phone. So since there's not really a great place to store your cell phone, what I ended up finding myself doing was just keeping my cell phone in my lap, which is a little bit disappointing. I would love it if in the future Dodge would include maybe a small shelf right here where you could stick your cell phone while you're driving. Thankfully, underneath the center armrest, there's plenty of space. You get a removable shelf, which is kind of nice, and then you get a very deep storage area here. I can put a full, large water bottle in there, close the lid without any problems, which is really nice because I think you can get a lot of stuff in this small space. Switching over to the passenger seat, you also get a pretty nice sized glove box. It's not the biggest I've seen, but it's big enough to keep more than just your manual and your registration paperwork. I really do think you could get a couple more items in here very comfortably. Moving on to the back seat, there's some kind of unique storage back here. First, let's get to the standard stuff. You get an armrest in the center of the two seats with two cup holders, which is kind of nice to see. But then down on the floor where your feet are, there are two storage areas. You just pick up these tabs and then you get these pretty large areas down here. I had a hard time sort of showing how big these are, so I'm going to stick my entire foot in there. And you can kind of get an idea just how deep this storage space is. It's pretty nice. So that's storage. Let's talk about comfort. I want to start by jumping right back into the front seat and talking about the climate controls. So here's what they look like. If you'll notice, there's not a whole lot of buttons here to interact with the climate, and that's kind of disappointing. You have your basic buttons here on the top, but if you want to change anything substantial, you have to go into the touchscreen. And you also don't get a digital readout for the temperature. You just get this sliding bar, so you have to kind of guess at how hot or cold the vehicle is going to be. The Hyundai Sonata has similar features to this, and it's not a deal breaker for me, but I kind of wish there was a digital readout down by the actual climate control. So switching to the front seats, you get manual controls to adjust everything. The driver's side does have electronic controls to move the seats up and down and back and forward, but not to adjust the recline. Jumping into the back seat, I really liked seeing that the back seats are fully adjustable, and you do get some very easy controls to sort of put the seats down so that somebody can access the third row seat. The third row seat was just way too small for me to squeeze into, but sitting in the back was very comfortable. I had plenty of legroom. And then up on the ceiling, the passengers in the back do get their own climate controls, which I thought was really nice. So you get a knob to control the fan, the temperature, and then you can adjust how the air is blowing. I really liked this added feature. All right, let's close things out by talking about handling, and I really just mean drivability. I drove this car for about 3 days. I put probably more than 600 miles on it, and I really liked it. It drives real smooth, it's really nice around the corners, it accelerates really well, and I think I had a 4-cylinder engine in this one, and it does come with up to a V6, so you might even get some better drivability. All in all, I really enjoyed driving the 2017 Dodge Journey, so if you're in the market for a vehicle kind of like this, I highly suggest that you go take this one out for a test drive. Alright, so that's my quick look at the 2017 Dodge Journey SXT. After spending some pretty good time with this car, I think I'm going to give this one 3 stars. Nice little SUV, but it could use some upgrades. Alright, so that's the 2017 Dodge Journey SXT. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll join me next time.